You can help support and promote the show by purchasing our merchandise at cafepress.com/Packard Pokes At, where you can choose from a variety of different items like hoodies, hats, and bears. Oh my! Put a Packard Pokes At mug in your hands today.
Do you like Packard Pokes At and want to hear it on demand and on the go? Download the free app today at Stitcher.com. Available on iOS, Android, Nook, and iPad.
You're on in 3, 2, 1.
This is Packard Pokes At, and I'm poking at your news. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another fine edition of Packard Pokes At. I am your immutable and unmutable host, Packard Sonic. And joining us tonight from the far East Coast is Crystal Says So.
Good evening, sinners.
And joining us from the far West Coast is Connie, Practical Magic 9.
Live long and prosper.
And I certainly hope so. With the way this computer is going, I'm going to get ready to hit it with a hammer. If it's the power...
Okay, everybody in the chat room, like, cross your finger.
Right, yeah, cross the finger or two. You know, it's just... What can I say? Modern technology hates me.
But that is illogical, Captain.
Yeah. I always say if you can't fix it, use a bigger hammer. But in this case, I think I won't be living long and prospering because the I'll be pounding out while it's still plugged in, and it's gonna go. So
Spock wouldn't laugh, so I broke character.
That's okay.
Oh, I so need to watch Star Trek. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Too long getting to explain for that tonight. So I'll tell you what, let's just get into our first topic for this evening.
Building a better future, science and technology.
Oh, and I forgot again, it's 100. This is episode 155, by the way. Ooh, yeah. This is one more, and we're at our actually, we had our first beta podcast anniversary just earlier this week, actually. So 3 years, people. 3 years. Anyway, hearts are amazing organs. They sit for an entire life in their chest and just pump. That's all they do, to pump, 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 pump. And the thing that keeps them going is love. No. It's not love. It's a big ass muscle, and it's all it does, just like I said, just pumps blood. And when it comes to heart failure, it's a big problem, especially in the medical community and for the patients, of course, who has heart problems. They sometimes have to get heart replacements, and they have heart valves and machines and whatnot, and they do work. But the problem is the body does not like foreign things in their body, even if it's from another person. Sometimes you get tissue that just does not want to be compatible. We've talked about in the past how we're using 3D printers to print up different organs, and now they're start working on 3D printing a heart, and they're going to start in the next 10 years. They're hopefully will not only have one that's working, but they may actually have one that'll actually be able to print one out and then stick wires on it, so you don't have to like say, hey man, can I like borrow your heart so I can, play with it a little while, do some testing on it and whatnot. Which is kind of weird, but that's what they want to do. They want to print a heart out and just play with it. So I don't even want to know what they would want to do with it later. But if they can, what they do is they take the cells from the patient and then they print a heart from those cells. So this way, when they put the heart back in the patient, it's stuff from their own body. So the chance of rejection is minimal at best. Crystal, your thoughts?
I love this story. This is absolutely one of my favorite of all the 3D printer story medical ones that we've had so far, because heart disease kills something like 1 out of every 3 people worldwide. This Dr. Stuart Williams, PhD from Louisville, is doing remarkable research, taking your patient's own fat cells, mixing it with some kind of super glue, and then printing it out and to form a whole new heart for these potential patients. Mm-hmm. This is still in studies. Of course, it's not FDA approved, which sucks already. But like you said, they think within the next 10 years that we're going to go ahead and see this becoming real in practice.
Mm-hmm. You know what I found interesting is that when they do this printing of the heart, the valves that are in the heart, they have to print those separately. It's not like you could just print the heart valves and everything all at one time. They have to print those as a separate item, and then kind of stitch those in there.
Right. Well, exactly. It has to print those 5 separate things. It has to print the valves. It has to print the coronary arteries and vessels. It has to print the microcirculation, which, some of the vessels in your heart are as tiny as a human hair.
Damn, that's small.
Right. And then it has to do the contractile cells, the electrical system. So it's not as simple as it seems, but yet at the same time, it really is. If you could pick an organ to replace organ-wise in the body, the heart would be it, because the heart is nothing but a pump, basically. Let's get rid of the electric system for now, but just the organ in itself is just a basic pump. And if they can make this open heart surgery now, you go on a bypass machine while they repair your heart.
Yep.
We already have that technology. If we can merge this technology to make it to where the patient can come in, have a little liposuction done on the stomach, get you a nice flat tummy and a new heart while you're at it, absolutely go for it. To watch this machine actually make these things, I never really did think I would see this in my lifetime, much less see it within the next 10 years in practice.
Right, exactly. In the next 10 years, that definitely will be practice. I mean, and they're calling this a bioofficial heart because it's a blend of natural and artificial, I just hopefully that no one gets the patterns mixed up and there's part ham sandwich in there, because that would just make the whole heart completely tasty and useless. I don't know. Maybe it's just tasty. Connie, your thoughts?
I think the most. Can
go ahead,
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say the one thing that I was really, 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 really excited about with this story, because there is a lot actually that you could talk about with this story, and there are a lot of stuff to go into. This surgery is going to end up costing so much less than a total heart replacement, even if you have a donor. And then it also is going to keep the patient from rejecting the heart.
Right. Because
it is the body's own tissues. Even though there was some discussion a little earlier in the chat room about the body still maybe, that's still a very rare, very, very rare thing where the body will reject some of its own tissue. And it keeps people off these anti-rejection drugs that can cost upward of $200,000-$300,000 a year.
Damn, that is expensive.
People, and it puts them in an immunocompromised state, which they can pick up tuberculosis, HIV, anything else, even easier than we can.
Right.
So that was what was most exciting to me. Anyway, I'm sorry, I meant to
that's okay.
Slide that in there.
That's okay. And an Entropy fan said people are shocked by bionics. We've been cyborgs since crutches and glasses, technically, and he's technically right, because everything we do to improve the body, glasses. Now, I'm not saying hair and moose are going to be in that, because it's a toupee. Kind of your thoughts.
When Crystal said the cost, it's like $100,000 was what they're projecting for the heart. And then if you add the surgery, which is another $150K, that's still less.
Yes.
A lot less than a heart transplant operation. And then you add the drug cost into that. Just the fact, the peace of mind that your body's not going to reject this, it's extremely exciting. And I love the name Bioofficial. I thought that was really clever. But there's such a persistent shortage of organs for organ donation.
Yes.
Crystal mentioned in the meeting on Wednesday,
that's right,
that the other organ that might be a really good candidate for this is the filter system, the kidneys.
Oh yeah.
It would be interesting.
No one will have to donate. Yeah, absolutely. No one will have to donate a kidney anymore.
Exactly. And they want this to all be, and this is their goal. Their goal is again, it's like a 10-year project, which I don't think, given the way that technology is kind of exponential in its advancement, they want within 10 years for this to be something that somebody comes in and they can replicate the organ within an hour. And be able to go ahead and implant it. And I would encourage everybody to see this video of this this 3D printer making this organ. It's so interesting.
I
was
think
never able to figure out what the glue is, but I'm just like, oh
I
my
think the
gosh.
one that was in the video, I don't think that was a human heart. I think that one there was just a model of the human heart. It was just made of plastic.
Well, I know that they've done parts of the heart with mice, I think it is. So it's not like they've replaced the entire thing.
Oh yeah, true.
But the big challenge is replicating the complexity of blood vessels.
Oh yes.
But
know,
so exciting.
As long as it doesn't say stamped on the side, made in China, then I'm gonna be. or bought at Walmart, and it says sponsored by Walmart. And
Wave that flag.
or came apart. No.
It
Sorry.
turns out, though, they've been working on this since the 1990s. When evidently this technology first came out in the 90s of printers and stuff, and they were already trying to make it biologically applicable. And I'm so impressed. I'm so hopeful for all the people out there, because it is such a prevalent problem. My father had a 5-way bypass on his valves. Yeah, eventually it wasn't his heart that gave out, but it was vascular problems. And I just look at this and I'm going, wow, it'd be really wonderful if we could replace these parts.
Oh yeah, and what if it's just a valve that they need to replace? They don't have to put these little steel ones that are in there and floating those around.
Yeah.
So that would be a whole lot better for people. This way, the thing won't just. I've heard stories where the valves, because I don't know if it happens anymore, but I know when they first started doing it, they would stitch it in there.
Well, that valve could be exactly manufactured towards that patient. It's not going to be the standard valve that they replace for everybody. That's going to be made specifically to fit that one patient.
Right.
Well, I know that my father, in the last few years before he passed, it was because he really was kind of ready to be done, because his quality of life was so diminished by his lack of circulation and the pumps and everything. And I don't want my dad to have lived forever, but I would have loved to have had him around for a while longer.
Yeah.
And have been able to go, to Disneyland and do all the wild rides and not have to worry about failure. I miss him, and so I'm just like super excited about this.
Yeah. What makes me wonder is if, people who don't believe in blood transfusions, if they would accept having fat cells, turn into their own to another body part and stuck back in them. I mean, it's not a blood transfusion, but I mean they have to take the blood out and stuff like that. I don't know if they were just.
My understanding is yes.
Really? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, okay, that's kind of cool then. If they, this is the one thing they would explain, then So, but anyway, it was just. This story was just awesome. Anyway, speaking of awesome, we got to move on to our next story for this evening.
Well, I'm not the brightest crayon in the box.
Another great story out of Florida tonight. You go out to the restaurant, fast food restaurant, you're there, you just want to get your burgers, you just want to go. However, somebody has got to come in and they are just off their fucking nut. They're crazy, they've been drinking, they've been doing drugs, or they're having some kind of psychotic episode. Well, down in Florida, all right, just make your own jokes about Florida because everything comes out of Florida. Some woman, she walked into a McDonald's completely topless, and this was all caught on camera. She trashes the McDonald's. I mean, she pushes off the register, she goes behind the counter, she sticks her face underneath the ice cream machine, and she's not completely naked. She's got no pants on, but she's got her underwear on. And apparently she was not drunk or had drugs in her system. Apparently she had some kind of bipolar effect on her or attack of some kind, so she claims. And she's not being charged with much of anything except for, the weird conduct and everything like that. So she basically trashed this whole restaurant. And then she decided just casually just walks to the back and to go get French fries. I mean, but no one stopped her. No one tries to stop her. Because when she did do this and she walked out of the restaurant, apparently, eventually, the cops showed up. They tried to tackle her or whatnot, and so she was fighting back. I mean, most women, when they're naked and they're walking around in public, I suppose they'd be fighting back too. Crystal, your thoughts?
Chicken McNipples, anyone?
Oh!
Boom. Well, I kind of hesitated when we first talked about this story because I had a distinct feeling that this woman was just not mentally stable. And, I don't like to kind of make fun of people with mental disorders. But now this, honestly, I'd have to say I kind of giggled at this, at the film. If you haven't watched it, go on YouTube. I know Packard will have the link in the.
We'll have two links actually. One is to the one that is censored, and then the other one is not safe for work. We'll have two links.
This lady, apparently what got her pissed off is she approached a male employee in the parking lot offering oral sex.
Uh-huh.
He declines, so she goes in.
Well, he was mentally disturbed anyway because he declined a free blowjob. How do you not? Hey, can I give you a blowjob?
So
okay.
Nice. I said, But that means he's.
I would just been there to help him. If somebody come up to me, just can I give you a blowjob? Well, I don't know, but okay, I suppose just this one time.
Okay, but she did go in. Let's help the lady out here, okay? So she goes in with her thong on.
Uh-huh.
Knocks over a few cash registers, then proceeds to give the ice cream machine a blowjob instead.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Where was the porn music in that video then? I think that would have helped her.
The sad part about this was
music.
The sad part about this was that the employees that let this out into the world, they were not supposed to do this because this was a security footage, and they didn't want, they kind of want to keep that kind of shit in house. But the person that released it out to the internet and a couple people who were watching and commenting on it, they all got fired. So, and as we were saying in the at the meeting there, that Joe said I would definitely wait to get fired for this. You know why? Wendy's, right across the street. Did you have any other thoughts, Crystal?
Well, I mean, they said this lady is actually from Colombia.
Yeah.
And so that I think that her charges, she also tried to grab an officer in the genitalia and offer him oral sex also.
Yeah, she did.
So that's where she got resisting arrest for that. She's actually kind of lucky that it wasn't more than that. My understanding, and doing a little bit of more research on this, is they are willing to drop some of the charges if she goes back to Colombia.
Oh, really?
I think there may be a little
she said that
illegal alien issue going on here, and I'm not really sure, and I'm not going to quote that for sure, but that's what my understanding is. And the last thing that I did read, bipolarism, a sexualization, over sexualization is a sign of manic behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So this really could be her problem. And if that's the case, I do feel sorry for. I mean, I really do. I do feel for her. It was a male manager that she was chunking things at left and right there behind the counter, and he himself said they are not allowed to touch these people when they come in.
Yeah.
We were all questioning, why didn't a couple of people take her down, keep her from harming herself, harming others? And he said, we can't.
Yeah,
he
that
made
makes
the 911 call from his cell phone.
Yeah, they generally. Yeah, that's pretty SOP actually. That if you work anywhere, someone robs you or whatever, you're not supposed to take action. There's been I can think of a couple of stories that I remember hearing about. Someone comes in, robs a liquor store. The guy actually stopped him because he wasn't the owner, he was just the employee, and he stopped him, and he got fired because it was like, well, I saved all your money, but you're fired anyway because you took a risk to get and you could have gotten killed. So we're gonna let you go at that point.
Right.
But in this instance, he was very lucky, or these people, they did the right thing by not getting involved in according to their company procedure, because they don't know what she would have had. She didn't know if they would have bitten her, if she would have bitten them rather, and who knows what, or attacked her or beat them or whatever.
And we do know where they hide those guns.
Yes.
We've done stories about that, people.
Yeah, She could have been packing heat somewhere.
Oh,
Well, she was packing. Well, guys always say women were packing heat all the time. It just different kind.
we do.
Although she did, when she was in the interview, she did say that if this gives her too much publicity, negative publicity, she's afraid for her kid. That's why she was going to go back. Not that there were supposedly any charges would be reduced if she went back.
That's not the word I read.
Yeah.
She says she's afraid of all the exposure.
Yeah, that's what I read too. That's what I read too. Actually, I saw that in the video. Go ahead, Connie. Your thoughts? Yeah, the exposure. Yeah, she was quite exposed. Quite exposed. More thoughts from you, Connie.
Oh well, you talk about how the employee who turned down the blowjob. I just look at this and I'm like, well, I don't know. I think he was probably pretty smart. Who knows what she might have done?
She might have bitten it off.
That's
a little rough.
He would have been in a very compromising position with his.
The ice cream machine was asking for it.
The ice.
So.
That ice cream was asking for is coming on to her. It's all sitting there, all chilly and sexy and creamy.
Well, and she's naked. Where are they supposed to grab her to arrest her? What is the chance that somebody would have?
Legs.
If she could have countersued and said, they were touching me inappropriately.
Yeah, she probably could have said that. Yeah. Yeah, they were holding me down, like looking at my naked body.
Her dental floss,
Oh yeah, that was. Oh, I could have just seen that. The dental floss comes flying off. Oh yeah, then we got a whole other issue.
I think McDonald's needs to change their motto. No longer can they just say "Have it your way." Because obviously, somebody takes it too far, and then things happen.
Somebody should have just said, "Can I get you some ice cream? Maybe some buns." It seems a little chilly out here. Just give you a couple buns.
She also went back for fries, too.
Yeah, she did.
I've heard that the McDonald's fries are very addictive. So.
They are addictive. There's like 10,000 chemicals in them. That's no joke. There's a lot of chemicals in the McDonald's French fries. There's like 300 different ingredients or something like that. I don't know. I seen it somewhere not that long ago. Maybe it's 100. I don't know. It's really strange.
Oh my goodness. So, yeah.
Anyway, well, before we get on to our next story, we got some very important words that you need to hear, and we're going to tell you all about them right now, and we'll be back in a few moments to ruin the rest of the show for you.
You should contact us by email at ppapodcast or packardpokesat@gmail.com, and follow the show on Twitter as @packardpokesat, and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/packardpokesat, or just type Packard Pokesat into the Facebook search bar. Call our Google Voice at 662-709-PPAP or 662-709-7727, and leave a short message and we will play it on the show. Join in the show live Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time at vaughnlive.tv/PackardPokesat. Download and rate us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Mixler Radio, and watch the show on YouTube. Visit our show page at packardpokesat.wordpress.com for links to the stories, and purchase merchandise from cafepress.com/packardpokesat to support the show. For everyone that rates us, you are awesome sauce.
Well, hello there. I'm Packard Sonic. I would like to take a moment to ask you to consider taking this and donate it once a month to my show, Packard Pokes At. To do this, just go to patreon.com/PackardPokesAt and subscribe. That's only $0.25 a show. What else can you get for $0.25 these days and get so much entertainment? In fact, the first 5 people a month that donate $50 will get a hat of your choice from cafepress.com. With a donation of $100 or more, you get a t-shirt and a hat of your choice. However, if you're feeling really generous and want to support the show and wish to donate $200, you get not only your choice of a Packard Pokes At hoodie, but a t-shirt and a hat of your choice. Even if you decide to donate just one of these a month, every little bit helps. Thank you for watching. And thank you, Joe, even though he's not here. I don't know, he seems to still work his way into the show somehow like that. He's always got to get his voice in there.
He's a really good ventriloquist.
I know. Changes all those pictures, too. Anyway.
He is.
All right, well, let's get on to our next topic for this evening.
I pity the fool. Pity the fool.
And tonight we're doing our month of Fools. And tonight we're going to be discussing, there's a little thing called pareidolia. Now, what does that have to do with religion? Well, people seem to think that they see things like religious symbols in all kinds of things, like a cheese sandwich. There's the Mary Jesus, Mary praying like this. Or there's this great picture of the Pope, and he's like, after he died, Pope John, and there's this flame. It kind of looks like him. It's a complete accident that these things happen. Now, the thing with pareidolia is that we are pattern-seeking animals. We look for patterns in things so we recognize them. Some people say this is from evolution. Some say it's a learned trait. I'm not sure which camp I'm in at this point, but I think I'm more leaning towards the evolution side of things. But it's something that when you see things like Jesus in a piece of ice cream or on a window or whatever, and it's not really there. You're just seeing things that your brain is going, okay, this pattern looks like this. And then your brain processes that pattern, and it gives you this whole notion of whatever you think it is. So we're going to start the timer, and it's right there in the middle. There it is. And we're going to start the timer now. Connie, your thoughts?
Pareidolia is actually something that explained a lot of things for me after I deconverted. But not so much the religious imagery, but for myself, and things like backward masking, the auditory pareidolia, and it's also, it's common like for UFO sightings and Bigfoot and Loch Ness, other apparitions, even the sightings of Elvis. So, Carl Sagan postulated that as soon as an infant can see, it recognizes faces, and we now know that all skill is hardwired in our brains. Those infants who a million years ago were unable to recognize faces smiling back were less likely to win the hearts of their parents, less likely to prosper. It's just something that, we lay on our backs out in the field and we look at clouds and we see things. And the thing with a religion is that it places importance on these images that we randomly find, or these sounds that we think we hear. It's something that everybody understands. Everybody experiences, but it's too bad we don't understand it better and realize that this is not something real to base our entire belief system, our lives on. Scientists actually use it, and clinical psychologists, encourage pareidolia as a means to understand a patient using the Rorschach ink blot test.
Oh yeah, I've never actually had one of those myself. I kept seeing hamburgers and everything.
Well, that says something about you, Packard.
I was actually, it was just before lunch, and I was really hungry.
Really lunch. It's really quite fascinating, and it's interesting to look back on it and just say, okay, why did I place so much emphasis on things like this, on signs and wonders? Again, I wasn't particularly into Jesus grilled cheese sandwiches or anything, but
if you have one of those, you can
look for patterns.
Yeah, if you have a grilled cheese sandwich that has a religious symbol that looks like it's burnt into it, you can sell that online for lots of money nowadays.
Well, if only there had been the internet when I was young.
Yeah. If I found a Jesus in the thing, in my cheese grilled sandwich, I would just go.
I mean, that woman. What does she make? $28,000.
Yeah, she took a bite of it first before she realized, oh my God, I'm eating the Mary Virgin Mary. I was like,
how is that different than the Eucharist?
Right. I wouldn't have told anybody. I was just eating it and said, yeah, I saw some kind of weird shape in it, but it was really delicious.
Not only is that Jesus, but he took a bite.
Yeah.
That double surprise.
Chrisley, your thoughts?
Well, there's not a whole lot that I can add to that Connie didn't very nicely and thoroughly cover. Sagan, again, was one that came up with a more familiar term that we know today. Back in '95, I believe, when his book was written. Babies do have very poor eyesight to begin with. That's another point of his view, and babies learn to what eyes look like, what the human face looks like, and that's how they pick out humans and friends, and that's again that bonding experience between mother-child, father-child, human baby. So we're hardwired to do this, and so I think some more than others, and definitely there is a religious aspect in it. From myself, I'm going to laugh harder than anybody if you pay $28,000 for a Jesus toast on eBay, and I can see, but I also think a lot of it is like with the ink blot test, and if you read further into that, it's called guided. The psychologist or psychiatrist will actually kind of guides you into kind of what he's wanting you to see or point out. Okay, so
does
let me
this
just
look
have
like a picture of your mother?
Yeah, well, it kind of gets really interesting because I'll tell a really personal story here that's really like not going to be funny unless you were there, but just bear with me here.
Okay.
We all had to go through this in nursing school. We all had a psychology run, and we all hated it. I mean, we all hated doing psych. And so they made us all do these ink blot tests. Now, you would never believe this, would you? Was like the class clown and would pretty much do whatever they put me up to doing. So they didn't...
Crystal was a class clown.
Yeah, they didn't specify like how I was supposed to get into trouble, but like psychologists and they tend to be kind of rather, well, I don't know how to put it, but like boring and not much personality or spunk to them, right? So they lay out this book, all right, and you're supposed to tell them what you are seeing in each image, and they sit back and they are trying really hard not to look at you. And I opened the first one up and I went, a penis. And he said, okay. And he flips the chart to the next one, and I sat there for a little while and I said, a penis. And I did that for the whole 10 pages.
He got a penis on every page.
I drew, I'm telling you, like, I didn't crack a smile. I didn't act like I was not being serious. I acted like I was really thinking about this really hard. I walked out of there, and my nursing instructor comes back, and after everybody's gone through that, she just comes down the hall shaking her head, and I just know, oh hell, my ass is grass. No, she thought that was funny because did he say anything? No, he didn't say a word to her about that.
Oh, really?
No, not a word, because he really didn't guide us. But they can guide it. If you're having trouble with it, they'll say, "Oh, are you not seeing maybe some lovely trees?" But maybe you would see the butterfly where I would see the trees. Anyway, we
timer.
No timer. Don't buzz me.
Sorry, that's it.
They tuned in to hear her, Packard. Now let her go.
I'm sorry, we have to move on. It was a great story, though. Just one thing I wanted to read here real quick from the chat room, and then we're going to move on. He said, my run, or Joe's Unseen, from the chat room here, he says, my run of the Rorschach answers, your mom dead, your mom on a grilled cheese sandwich. That's usually the end of the test. I would like to see what that guy's expression was after. He's like, man, she's just into penises. Maybe I should call her for a date later. Anyway.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars, let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars.
And on tonight's Did You Know They're an Atheist, we have someone who has a religious name, or has a religious piece of religious thing in his name, but is not religious. His name is David Cross. And he is an American actor, stand-up comedian. He's primarily known for his work in the HBO comedy series Mr. Show and his roles in Tobias Funke in the sitcom Arrested Development. He also an executive produced and starred in the Increasingly Poor Decisions of Todd Margaret. I didn't even know that was a show. Developed and programmed a prominent role in the Comedy Central animated sitcom Freak Show, and has a reoccurring role in the sitcom Modern Family. And he is an atheist. He has said in a interview with Politically Correct on ABC, Cross says, "I was born Jewish, but I am an atheist. I don't believe in God." Boom. Drop mic, walk away. Right there. He says he's an atheist. Comes out right and says it. So, and he's also partnered up with Bob Ordnick and the guys, and he was also behind the TV show called Mr. Show on HBO as well. So, he's also done video games as well. He did the voice as the voice of Zero in the video game Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. So, if you have that game and you hear the voice of Zero, that's him. I don't have that one, but if I do get around to playing the Grand Theft Auto games eventually at some point in my life, I will probably see that and hear his name. Crystal, your thoughts?
Well, I found this dude, and I really didn't know who he was. It took me just a bit to find a picture of him until, we all started talking. But after I heard his voice, I realized, this guy has been in a gazillion movies.
Mm-hmm.
And he does tend to play these just totally clueless characters or these really oblivious characters.
Mm-hmm.
Or
really annoying characters.
Yeah, not the main standout thing, but his stand-up comedy shows are the bomb. I mean, he is so funny. I mean, and of course I'm not going to repeat it because it's even bad enough from my mouth. Like it's even worse than that. So, I love the movie. I loved he was in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which I really like that movie a lot. And once I realized that was who he was, then I kind of put two and two together. But I do love the website that Mr. Show has on there, and that one quote from him that he had the personal message, and he put something like, "Again, thanks for watching, and although there is no God, have an enjoyable holiday gift time. Yours in Christ, David."
Yeah.
And I kind of thought that was cute. So
thank God I'm an atheist. Is another way of saying it.
And he's married to Amber Tamblyn, who is an actress.
Well, I'll have to check out some of his other.
Like a much younger hottie.
Yeah, I'll have to check out some of these other works that they've mentioned on here. I've not seen them in everything, but those are some of the other ones. Connie, your thoughts?
First time I knew I saw him was in the first Men in Black movie, which I absolutely love, and he's in both 1 and 2. He plays a character called Newton, and in the first one, he's like the person checking bodies into the morgue, and he has the misfortune of killing flies in front of the villain, who is also an extraterrestrial.
That's a great scene.
But I love how he's reprised in the second movie, and he has a girlfriend. He's living, and he's like almost 40 years old. He lives in the upstairs apartment of his mother's place, and his girlfriend would love to get some lobster, and he's talking about getting her $1 lobster dinner. And when Will Smith's character has neuralized him, he says, "Okay, first, get some contact lenses because those jaunts look like they could pick up cable. Second, take her to Cambodia, get a lobster dinner, pay more than $1. Third, the second y'all get back from Cambodia, move your bum ass out of your mom's house. Boy, you look like you're 40 years old." and
I remember that scene
because he after they leave, he looks at his girlfriend and says, "You want to go to Cambodia?" She says, "Yeah." Then he says, "Hey, Mom," and he picks up a shovel, and it's just so dark and it's so funny. I've shared with everybody on Facebook. I was looking at his stand-up, and oh my gosh, the guy's the perfect deadpan. He's pretty funny. Extremely blue. Don't play it for when little guys are in the room. No smallies, but funny man. So I was loving it.
Definitely. And if you get a chance to, please check out his acting in these other shows.
Connie got me started. She did. She sent that link, and I couldn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm glad, honey. There's nothing wrong with laughing.
Connie,
that's
thank you for
sure.
telling me it was Men in Black. It was about to drive me crazy what movie I knew him from.
Yeah. He's in a
It's such a
he's a
small
writer.
part too, so yeah.
Right. All right. Well, we have to get out of here, and I appreciate everybody sticking around through our little technical glitches and whatnot. But if you want to come to the show, we'll be back live. We'll be back again live. No, this is all previously recorded. We're just doing all the stuff. We'll be back here live next week, every Friday, 9 p.m. Central Time, for a much longer show next week. And if we get a guest, we get a guest. If we don't, well, we don't. But we're trying. So we'll see you next week. This has been Packard Pokes At. We just poked at your news.
And that's a wrap.